Hello everybody, welcome back to Real Scent Review. This is Joe. Thank you for tuning in this evening. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please click that button in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, subscribe to the channel, and leave a like. Also click the bell so you can allow push notifications to your phone, tablet, or computer, so you can automatically be notified whenever I release new material. So it's getting quite chilly at night where I am right now, and again, I'm loving this weather. I'm not usually a fan of cooler weather, but I recently, since I've become more deeply interested in fragrances, I'm realizing that there's just such a wide variety of cold weather oriented scents to try for the fall and the winter and spring months. So that right there has me excited to just try to sample as many cool weather scents as possible. Now, one sort of accord that I would like to bring to everybody's attention is oud. So oud is it's a very commonly used note in a lot of Middle Eastern style fragrances, a lot of Oriental fragrances. It's not used so much in Western style fragrances. Now, oud, to give a little bit of a background on what oud is agarwood, and agarwood comes from the agar tree. But there's a special little story behind where oud is actually derived from. So the wood of the agar tree, which is native to Southeast Asia, sometimes is exposed to a fungus, and when it's exposed to a fungus, the tree itself produces this resin, this sap-like substance to try to defend itself. And after a while, this sinks into the wood and it dries, and it gives off this very distinct odor, and that's extracted, and that is what's known as oud. Oud is the Arabic word for agar wood. So anyway, this, I will be honest right off the bat, real oud essential oil is extremely rare, because like I said, the agarwood tree is endangered. So actually being able to obtain real oud essential oil is very expensive, to the point where even in a lot of niche perfumery, they use synthetic oud that is synthesized in a laboratory, to mimic the scent of real oud. So, being honest, the vast majority of scents that contain oud actually just contain an oud accord and not real oud essential oil. Now, having said that, there are many iterations of oud. Some of them are very strong. Some of them can be perceived as very unpleasant by a lot of people. Sometimes oud can give off, depending on the exact concentration, depending on a lot of different factors, oud can give off a very barnyardy type of smell, almost a fecal type of smell. So yeah, it can turn a lot of people off. Now, that's at the more extreme end of oud. On the lower end of oud, in certain designer fragrances and certain fragrances that are more geared towards the Western market, the oud can be very toned down to the point where it just smells like burnt wood or charred wood or slightly dampened wood. So nowhere near the off-putting scent on the higher extreme. So oud takes many different forms, many different smells. It's a very important accord in perfumery. A lot of the most sought after fragrances do contain, an oud accord. It's an acquired taste for a lot of people, but I'm here to tell you that if everything I've just told you is making you anxious, I'm here to ease your anxiety, because there are some very accessible oud fragrances for people who are brand new to the whole oud accord. I'm going to introduce Versace Oud Noir. Now, this is an example of a designer oud. It's an oud that's very easily accessible. This is an iteration of oud that will not turn anybody off. This is a very pleasant, albeit slightly beginner oud. So if you're new to the oud game, I suggest giving this a shot. So on to the review now. I'm going to start with the atomizer. Perfect atomizer. Very wide distribution. Oof, this is beautiful. So right off the top here, I'm getting some bitter orange, also known as neroli. So the opening is very bitter, but it's also mixed with saffron. So saffron is a spice that's used in a lot of Middle Eastern cuisines, Southern European cuisines. It gives a nice type of sweet spice. Mixed with some black pepper. So you get the bitter orange, the saffron, and the black pepper right up top. Followed by a little bit of cardamom. So it's a spicy kind of bitter oranginess. Now the oud is also in here. Now, like I said, it's a very toned down version of oud, very accessible. This particular iteration of oud in the very beginning has a sort of, it reminds me a little bit of dark chocolate. So if you could picture this opening here, what I'm getting is a bitter orange mixed with spicy dark chocolate. If that sounds strange, I don't blame you. But I must assure you that this is a very delicious smelling fragrance here. And again, this is just for the designer realm, this is a very different fragrance from anything blue or anything gourmandy sweet. This is a departure. This is unique. This is getting into unique territory. Now the oud is starting to make itself more present here. Now when I say that, it is not becoming overbearing at all. It's gone from sort of a subdued note in the opening to it's gaining more and more prominence as the minutes go by here. So it's going from, at the very beginning, a sort of orangey dark chocolate spice to, I'm still getting the orange and the spice, the dark chocolate is starting to disappear, and it's turning into a little bit of an almost smoky woodiness. Now, when I say smoky, it's not overly smoky. In fact, it's more of I'm going to be very specific here. If you've ever had a campfire and you've put the campfire out and you've let the charred wood stay outside for several days and it's rained, this iteration of oud reminds me of that charred, slightly damp wood after a few days' time. So it's a woodiness, the slight bit of charred accord as well. So a charred woodiness with a bit of damp freshness, if that makes any sense. That's what I'm getting here, along with the cardamom, saffron, and bitter orange from the top notes. So all in all, it's a very deep sort of woodiness with the bitter orange and spice. This is a very, very nice scent here. Different. Now it's not overly woody. It's not overly resinous by any means. It's kind of like a charred, damp woodiness in a almost fresh sort of way. I know it's difficult to describe. If you've smelled oud before, a very toned down oud, for example, Tom Ford's Oud Wood, this is actually very similar to that scent. If you know what Tom Ford Oud Wood smells like, this is quite similar. So you know it's not off-putting at all, but it's a woody, sort of damp, earthy type of wood with a slight charriness in the background. Very good here. Very unique scent. Now, this is, as I said, it's similar to Tom Ford's Oud Wood. Now, Tom Ford's Oud Wood is quite an expensive fragrance. For 50 milliliters, it goes for about $200, $220 American, which is out of the question for a lot of people. Now, this Versace Oud Noir, the Versace Oud Noir is, I purchased this 100 milliliter bottle for about $80 Canadian, so that's a very good price. By the way, this came out in 2013. It's been out since 2013, and it's part of the Versace Homme line, along with Versace Pour Homme and Versace Dylan Blue. They have very similar bottles here. I think the bottles are very classy. You know, nothing overly fancy. You have the Medusa logo in front here, signature Versace. The top of the cap here has the Versace logo. Very nice. I like the color. I like the gradient in black at the bottom, transparent on top. Very classy looking bottle. And I think it's a very good representation, a very good predictor of the juice inside the bottle. I mean, this is a very classy juice. And like I said, very, very similar in scent to Tom Ford's Oud Wood, and at a fraction of the price, a much better value, to be honest with you. Now I'm going to get on to performance here. The performance is very good, good to very good, and I'll explain why. The projection on this for the first hour is very good, arm's length, very nice. After that first hour, the projection definitely starts to die down, and it wears closer and closer to the skin. Now that's not bad if you're going to be in a type of close scenario with other people. The longevity is good. I get 6 to 7 hours on my skin before I reapply. Sillage is also good. Good to slightly above average, I would say. You know, if you spray this on, you would hangs around in the air for about 8 to 10 to 12 minutes, you know, roughly in that ballpark. So, you know, above average performance. The smell, though, is far above average. Like I said, for designer, this is next level designer, I would say. This is definitely a step up from the blues, the freshies, and the vast majority of gourmand sweet scents. This is really taking it to another level. So audience here, definitely male. It's a masculine scent. Definitely mature. I would say age 30 plus for semi-formal to formal settings. In cool weather, strictly cool weather, I would not want to wear this in the heat at all. You know, chilly fall nights to cold winter days, this is perfect for that. If you're going to a meeting, I'd say this is office safe if you watch the sprays. If you spray maybe 1 or 2 sprays, I think it would be suitable for office wear, especially because the projection is not huge. But yes, it does lean more formal. It's a very sexy type of scent. It's I could definitely recommend wearing this on a date. This is a very memorable scent. Will leave a positive first impression for sure. It might even have people leaning in closer to get a better smell. So yes, I would recommend it for those temperatures, those seasons, and those occasions. Again, this is not something I would want to wear to a club, not because it's not good, but precisely because it's very good. I think the quality is just too high to have it mixing with hundreds of other scents in a club-like setting. So anyway, like I said here, moving on to the price now. 100 milliliter bottle for $80 Canadian. This is a Versace product, and it is 9 years old now, so it is fairly easy to find it on discounters. So you definitely won't have to pay full retail. And as always, I recommend looking on the internet for discount websites. For North America, Fragrance By, Fragrance Net, and Fragrance X are 3 of the top websites. In Europe, there are different ones. Anyway, guys, that's my review for this evening. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, please subscribe, please like, and leave a comment below if you've tried this. Please leave me your impressions on it. And if you haven't tried it, just feel free to ask me any questions you might have. Okay, guys, thanks again. Take care.